Okay, so hello everyone, and thank you for hosting us. And this is an incredibly historical, I think, event that we are doing and launching initiative that will hopefully grow in both countries and specifically among Lebanese. More and more Lebanese will get the courage to speak and out their minds and not be actually afraid. They deserve to be liberated in a democratic country, in a democratic place where they can speak out and join a peaceful, mission that would benefit not Israel only. It will benefit first the Lebanese, actually. And so peace is good for everyone, and specifically Lebanese. And that's what I'm going to talk about myself as a Maronite Christian. I belong to the Syriac Maronite Church of Antioch. And we are Maronites here in Israel, about 10,000 people. And Christians at all, we are around 181,000 Christian Israeli citizens. And I would speak about this topic, how we live here in this country, how we enjoy this freedom of democracy of the Jewish democratic state of Israel, which I would actually hope that this freedom and freedom of speech would be able to be enjoyed also in Lebanon, actually, and for other Christians in the region. Because here we can have no fear to call or speak with our Maronite or Christian brothers and sisters in other countries. And because the government and our security forces, they know that we do that for humanitarian things and for a family ties or for any other reason, without hurting or harming the state of Israel. This is not our intention when we speak, and so they understand that, and they don't punish us, and they don't, even though Lebanon actually and other countries in the region, some of them are defined enemies countries, but we still enjoy this freedom. So the Christian population in Israel contain Greek Catholics, a Greek, which is Belkites, we call Belkites, a Greek Orthodox, Maronites, a little bit Syriac Orthodox, a little bit less than that Syriac Catholics, some Armenians, Latin, which we call Roman Catholic Church, which is very also not big one. And we all live here since the independence of Israel in 1948. We grew in numbers since that time. We were 50,000, around 48,000 people, 50,000 people. Today we are, as I said, 181,000 people. We live in cities like Haifa, Nazareth, other villages in Shfar'am or Shfa'amer, as we call it, and other Christian villages in the Galilee, mainly in the north of Israel. So majority of us live in the north of Israel, Galilee region, which is the line of Haifa, Nazareth, and north. You have a little bit Christians living in Tel Aviv area, Tel Aviv, Jaffa or Yafo, Ramle and Lod, which is around maybe 5,000 people, and another block of Christians living in Jerusalem, about 7,000, 10,000 people maximum. That's the Israeli Christian population. Now, as an Israeli citizen, I enjoy the same equal rights and equal, even actually not equal duties, equal rights, like all other citizens of the state. Duties not, because you know that the Jews and Druze citizens of Israel serve in the IDF in compulsory, and Christians and and Muslims are not serving in the IDF as a compulsory. They are volunteers. So this is not equal in duties. But with all that, we still actually get the same equal rights like all other citizens of the state. And we enjoy one order of law. We are having our church schools. We have 29 church schools. Unfortunately, they chose to teach Arab Islamic curriculum and not teaching their own history and language and identity. And that's from the fear of Arab political parties and Islamists that live in the country. And I don't think they have the courage to change this curriculum because you know what happens then. Next, they will be attacked, their schools will be attacked, or their population will be attacked. So they fear from changes, and I'm talking from experience. I led a committee of priests in the Ministry of Education to change this subject and to fix the curriculum. The country and the Ministry of Education accepted that with a budget, a huge budget that would come to the Christian schools, but they were fearing from the reaction of the Arab political parties, which, as you know, they are pan-Arabist extremists and other Islamic brotherhood movement that exists here. So they wanted the state to impose that by force, and the state said, no, you cannot expect that I impose on you something if you don't request it. You need to request it officially, and then I will actually accept your request and give you the budget. I deserve also to have, as a state, when I do something good for you, to have a good news, or this event will be published as a good news, giving you what you needed, not imposed on you, and then you will ruin our reputation. So that's how Christian reactions, and most of you here are Christians and know the facts, how most of our Christians are dhimmis and act as a dhimmis in the country, and they prefer to talk, let's say, on behalf of the Arab cause, and which is Islamic cause, as I see it. This is in my opinion, and less about talking the truth and liberate themselves for speaking the truth. And that's actually drag us into problem, because the Western Christians and people in the West that want to help you, they don't know the truth. And by not knowing the truth, they can't know how they should help you, if it was in Israel, or if it was in Lebanon, or if it was in Syria, or in any other country surrounding us here. So I, for example, give you an example, very myself, example of my experience. I grew up in a village which is a Maronite majority town in north of Israel called Jish. And this village, actually, we are very close to the Lebanese border. And I saw many of my community during the Lebanese, they call it Lebanese civil war. I don't call it civil war. I call it jihadist Islamists who attack Maronite and Christians of Lebanon for being Christians only, and for dominating or establishing a state of themselves. And they wanted to destroy it. They wanted to destroy this state that Christians feel free and act freely in it. So, and that's what we see in Lebanon still going on, actually. That's why most of our people migrated, and I see that they don't want to have Christians in Lebanon enjoy stability, because if you will enjoy stability in the country, majority of a Christian diaspora and very intellectual and educated and successful businessmen and entrepreneurs will come back to Lebanon, invest in Lebanon, and live in Lebanon, and they will become a majority again. And so if you enjoy stability, that's the result, the end result, what will happen. So they prefer to have Lebanon always unstable country, have wars, and Israel is always excuse for them, for the Muslim and Arabs in the region. And this way they know and that is Lebanon will never ever be again a free country, liberated country, Western values prosper in it and enjoying peace with its neighbors and specifically with Israel. So I saw this war as war against my people as well, because that's true, I'm Israeli. I'm proud Israeli citizens. I'm happy I'm living in Israel, and I am lucky to live in Israel, I can say, because I could be living in Lebanon if the French and the British mandate decided to move the border just a little bit south. And then I will be ended up maybe under Hezbollah control in South Lebanon, or being an SLA person fighting against these enemies that came to wipe out a Christian population of South Lebanon. So they formed the SLA at the end. And then those enemies were called Palestinians at the beginning, with other jihadi groups that joined them. Or leftist, and I don't know what you call them. Everyone call it a different way. But that's where I saw that my country, Israel, with its forces, came to defend the Christians, were fighting side by side with Christians, not only SLA, with other Christians, to defend the Christians from annihilation. And we saw letters from Prime Minister Menachem Begin talking about this, how we sacrifice the Israeli youth and soldiers to defend and rescue and save Christians from annihilation. Now, in war was a lot of mistakes, and I'm not going to go into those mistakes, but that's fact. If Israel didn't intervene, I'm not sure that the Christians will survive anymore in Lebanon back then. So that's what I saw, and I grew up loving my country, and I served in this country as an IDF officer, and I become successful, and thank God everything was open to me, and many others are following the steps of joining the IDF and serving the country and defending Israel as democratic state, because this country allows them the freedom. And they worry for their families and for their people as Christians, that if this country will not stand and be strong, they will not exist as well, because the jihadists, as you saw them before in your country in Lebanon and in Syria, they will take over here and they will treat them as not second-class citizens, as 10th-class citizens, and they actually will either butcher them or they will flee from their original homelands. So they prefer to have this state of Israel strong and enjoy the freedom of it. And that's example for how, today about 30% Christians joined the IDF, by the way. And there are about 1,200 Muslims, not only Christians, joining the IDF. And so that's the country. If the country, as you know, was a country that people feel not welcomed in it, people will not stay here, and they will not actually be just thriving and in large numbers, from 50,000 or 48,000 people to 181,000 people. We saw in Syria, it's from 2 million, they become 500,000. We saw in Iraq, from 1.5 million, they become 150,000 people. In Lebanon, why most of the diaspora is living outside the Lebanon, and not only maybe 1 million Christians now, or 1.5 million Christians living in Lebanon? Why not more? So that's what we see declining in other countries. Here we see an increasing in numbers. And another thing I can tell you, I spoke about education. We spoke about service to the country. We see a lot in national and civil service, also going to national and civil service. We saw many in positions, in different positions in the government. We saw, like, we have ambassadors in Israeli ambassadors are Christians from the Greek Orthodox community, for example. We saw the Supreme Court judge is a Maronite, was a Maronite. His name is Salim Jubran. He passed away a few years ago, like 2 years ago, I think. And we saw many others that become in different positions. I was a candidate for the parliament as a parliament member for the Knesset within a Jewish party called Israel Beiteinu back then. So we can see that all is open for you. Now, if you want even to go and not participate and you don't want to be part and talk badly against the state is not harming you and not doing anything for you because you have a free speech. But if you spy against the country and if you are acting against the country in purpose to hurt the country, not to make peace for the country, then the state is, like any other state, have the right to actually work against it. You guys in Lebanon or wherever it is, you are my brothers and sisters, and I would like more courageous people to speak out so we can enjoy this peace finally and go and visit each other's and have enjoyed this calm and tranquility and the good life of our region as it's supposed to be. To remind you, and I will finish here, there was a research in 1942 in the Jewish Agency, and it is in the Zionist Central Archive in Jerusalem. This research was done by Dr. Edmund Meyer in June 24, 1942. And in this research, we can see a section about Maronite Jewish Zionism. Now, in this research, you have the speech of the Maronite patriarch Anton Arida from 1937, spring 1937, and I will read it for you, and this will summarize the vision and how we are acting here as a Maronite and Christians with our Aramaic movement to revive and preserve our language and identity. And this actually what lead us in our actions here in Israel. And hopefully, I can tell you that this is the best vision for our region too, and for us as a people, Maronite and Jews here to adopt, and Lebanese and Jews to adopt for peace. That's the speech. He said, the Jews are not only our ancestors, but also, he said that in the synagogue of Beirut, not only our ancestors, but also our brethren. We are of the same origins. We speak almost the same language. Our fathers are your fathers. We are proud to be the sons of the same race. We owe everything to Judaism. Our doctrines are derived from your law. We sincerely desire that productive and enduring relations be established between us and the Jews in general and Zionists in particular. We want to help one another, and we wish wholeheartedly that God may save the Jews from persecutions which they are suffering in an unjust and inhuman way, both in Germany and in Palestine. I want to assure you, children of Israel, who are expelled from Germany and not friendly received by the Arabs of Palestine, that there is a room for us and for you in Lebanon. It is already a long time that His Beatitude has been considering such a scheme. By His orders, we have tried to influence the authorities to permit the Jews to enter the Lebanon. Since then, nothing, and that's the conclusion, since then, nothing seems to have transpired about relations between Jews and Maronites. It will be clear from our next and last chapter that there are some analogies in the national life of the two peoples which perhaps have attracted the attention of the Maronite leaders. In this case, it may be possible that there is something more at the bottom of the friendly words which we have heard, and that in the future these minorities will still have to say and to give something one to another. And that's what we are doing today, my friends. We still have a lot to give one to another, and the Christians in Israel can be the bridge for you for making this peace possible between Lebanese and Israelis, and hopefully with federal Lebanon, which would be much better.